This protest comes after former Premier Mike Harris spoke on education, hope, and reconciliation at the Nusu Student Center on behalf of the Joyce Foundation's $2 million donation. It is said that this donation announcement came with a hefty price as Indigenous students and staff walked out of the donor social event. A central focus of this protest is an unpleasant experience that fourth-year Nipissing University student Cheyenne Sego had with Mike Harris. She claims that he confirmed the statement he allegedly made all the way back in September of 1995. Before the Ipperwash crisis. We caught up with Cheyenne at the protest today. She tells us about the interaction with former Premier Harris from beginning to end.
I was caught off guard that he was there. I had no idea, and I've only seen about and heard about him in documentaries in class regarding the Ipperwash crisis and regarding the Nipissing University library's name, the Harris Learning Library. So I was caught off guard to know he was there, and I gotta ask this guy something. I've never seen him before. So he finished his speech. I said, "Hi, Mike. Mike Harris." And he said, "Hi." I said, "My name is Cheyenne Sego. I'm a recipient of the Ron Marlowe Award. I wanted to thank you for your donation." He said, "Oh, hi, like, you're welcome." So I said, like, in your speech, you were saying that your donation is about supporting youth, right? And he said, "Yeah." So I asked him, "What are you doing to support Indigenous youth?" And he said, like, "Well, I just made this bursary towards northern communities." And I said, "Well, yeah, but that's northern communities. I'm asking, what are you doing specifically to reconcile your relationship with Indigenous youth, considering what you've said before?" And he said, "Well, what did I say?" And I was like, "Well, you said, I want the Indians out of the park." And he's like, "Well, I wanted the Indians out of the park." And I was like, "Well, we're not Indians." And he's like, "Well, you guys are saying you're on Indian land." And I was like, "Well, I'm just wondering, what are you going to do to reconcile this relationship? Because I don't feel welcome anytime I step foot in the library knowing what you said about my people and about who I am." And then he put his hand, he said, "Excuse me," and he put his hands on me with the pamphlet, and he's like, "All right." And I said, "Get your hands off me, don't ever touch me again." And then he scoffed and he walked away. I ran into AVP Lynn Sullivan and I asked her, well, I told her, I was like, "I just had an encounter with Mike Harris. I'm not happy. Where's Kevin? President Kevin Walmsley. I want to talk to him. The library name needs to change now. It's not okay." We calmed down, and then before leaving, about 15 minutes later, with my dad and my daughter, she said she spoke to Dr. Kevin Walmsley. He's seen what happened, and he's willing to meet with me as soon as tomorrow, which was Friday, March 21st. He met with me. He listened to me, what I had to say. I was really upset and saying, like, this isn't okay. I told him what happened and that the name needs to change. For myself, like, I can say that this really hurt me, and it had definitely more of an impact on me personally. But under the equity, diversity, inclusion, accessibility, like, we got to have Indigenous perspectives. We need to have that inclusion, that diversity, accessibility for Indigenous students. So it's a part of it. To Dudley George's family, we're still fighting to honor him, and we're still fighting for reconciliation, and this matters. We're not forgetting, and we're still going to hold this institution accountable. It's not me against the school, it's me and the school against the issue of the name, and I think we should all be working together towards that.
Before broadcast time, Cogeco News received a statement from former Premier Mike Harris. It reads, quote, "The interaction with Miss Sego took me by surprise as she approached me as I was leaving, and I find it unfortunate that she was left with an unfavorable impression. Since the 1990s, significant progress has been made on the path towards reconciliation, and I fully support those efforts towards building a better, more inclusive future for all Indigenous communities. As for requests from protesters that Nipissing University changes the name of its library, this decision rests exclusively with the university's management." Unquote. Dr. Kevin Walmsley, president of Nipissing University, agreed to an interview with Cogeco News to provide his comments on the protest and the situation overall.
Well, the first matter is an interaction between the former premier and a student, and that is under investigation. And so we don't have any further comment on that for the protection of the student. It is not directly related, but it is the library is an area of interest, as are all of our buildings. And that's part of asking the question, how do you experience the landscape of Nipissing University? What are you experiencing from the way our buildings are organized or named, or the way they're set up? Does that affect you in a particular way? We want to hear the answers to those questions so that we know what people are thinking, and everyone's experience is different. Nipissing University welcomes the protest here. In fact, I'm very impressed that our students are in the classroom and extending their learning from the classroom out into real-world issues. The foundation of the protest is to make this campus a better place for all students. We are in the process now of conducting our first ever equity audit. And also, at the same time, we are conducting an audit of how well we are doing with reconciliation at the university.